Right, to recap where we left off. Oh, and if you are new here, hit the follow or subscribe button. Right, okay. We're fighting the Battle of the Mareth line. Primary objective, breach the Mareth line. That means take all of these bunkers or some such. Capture Gaves here. We've achieved the secondary outflank it, capture El Hama. Right up here, and destroy 5 Italian infantry units. We've destroyed 4 so far, so we are doing pretty good with our secondary objectives, which is of course nice. Okay, let's start out over here. We've got our flanking operation here. Let's put some artillery. Use German engineers, as I see. Soften them up a bit. Our Saharina reconnaissance units. They fade up to there. Now, yeah, these guys we can. Our Orlikins on 20mm Portees. We're going to turn them down. Damn. They disappeared into the desert, and even though we approached them, it doesn't show. I guess we should have tried to bump into them. Hello, Jaculius. How you doing today? Now, today's general we're going to talk about, I sort of started this with War in the East too, but I'm going to continue here talking about a general that was significantly involved in the battle or campaign or whatever we are currently playing. And that general is Giovanni Messe. Do we? Yeah, okay. We will use trucks to get these guys up to here and these guys up to here. Take a little bit of a risk. I really don't think they're going to break out of the positions and attack me, though they very well might attack a unit right next to the one. And I know there's that guy there, but I sort of kind of want him to attack me. He is considered, now I don't know a lot about Italian generals, so I don't have like a good personal evaluation of this, but he is considered one of the best, if not the best, Italian general of the era, you know, Second World War. Okay, so we have some artillery back there. We got these fighters there. So since I really don't know, you know, a lot of Italian generals to know, you know, have good comparisons, like I know of a lot of German and American and British generals, so do a little better comparisons there, I think. But I'll take their word that he is, shall we say, above average. Now we're going to pound this bunker here. Suppress the hell out of it, partially because there's some anti-aircraft around over there. And we don't really need to go in and go after it at the moment. That heavily suppressed. Now, we're going to sort of cover his life story. Like most all generals, I'm sure we could find an exception, but most all generals in World War II were officers in World War One. Don't know if there's a major belligerence that wasn't in World War One. Well, okay, the Dutch obviously, and the Norwegians and Danes weren't, but probably most of their officers were, generals were officers during that time period. So, yeah, you had Romania, of course, Hungary. They were all part of World War One. Okay, we're going to see if we can just take this with our Churchill, of course. Big, heavy Churchills, good for taking fortifications. Now, yeah, I think we will continue to push one of these guys. Well, my understanding is they're going to start retreating now that we have taken down back over here. So we want to keep some pressure up on some of these German units that will likely be retreating. Now we can't lift the mines this turn, but we can reinforce. We'll move these guys up, and we can. Now, I did read up on the Mareth line and the battle, but just an interesting fact in reading through it. It was sort of demilitarized to some degree. I don't know. I think like pulling guns out and that were in position and whatnot after the French surrender in 1940. But when the Germans come back in after retreating out of Italian North Africa, they set up 100,000 anti-tank mines and 70,000 anti-personnel mines as part of the Mareth line. That's a huge, at least in my opinion, huge undertaking. Got to be a significant, okay. That's a significant industrial effort. Manufacturing the explosives. Now, there's not necessarily a lot of explosives in an anti-personnel mine. It depends on how it's designed. But, you got to think with an anti-tank mine, you're going to have fair amount of explosives in there. So now you can make a lot of the mine bodies out of wood if you want. I have no idea what these were. I don't know if these, I'm presuming Italian mines, but I don't know. But probably cheap stamping steel and whatnot. So, I would say roughly, and I'm sure there's somebody who knows better, but roughly if it's a metal stamped mine in a few pieces, it's at least as difficult as making a helmet or something. So that's 170,000 helmets plus explosives that could go into shells or water rounds or whatever. So That's a fair amount of industrial effort. And then transportation effort, to get them to North Africa. So that's a lot of effort that it takes the Allies, or I say Allies, but the German, Italy and Germany, to do to reinforce the defenses here. So that is something to consider. I always have to think about because we are in something of a bad way. I think we reinforce. Think about the sort of asymmetrical effort you get in warfare. The Japanese submarines, a few times, I know of two specifically, one down in Southern California, a Japanese submarine captain who had an embarrassing incident pre-war when he when he visited Southern California and had something of a grudge against stuff, and I forget the details of it, but he had visited as an officer and had some sort of embarrassing incident. I don't remember exactly, but he shelled an oil field, doing no significant damage, as in nothing that, there was some damaged stuff, but nothing affected oil production, and no one was even injured. And there was another incident up in the state of Washington, I believe, up in Seattle, that I think it was a submarine. It was either a submarine. I'm pretty sure it was a submarine. I don't think it was a ship, but I'm not sure. Shelled, some shore locations and went away. But particularly the Southern California incident got the United States to ramp up shore defenses along the coast. Gun batteries and whatnot. So what that one incident does to then affect all the efforts that the U.S. do that were obviously unnecessary, because the Japanese never really come back with any significant capabilities to make attacks. I'm not saying they couldn't have. I'm not saying it's impossible for them to. I'm just going, they just didn't do that. So why would we, or why spend the effort if they're not going to do it? So I often think, having a certain capability in warfare will require the enemy to do a lot of effort. So it's like having some submarines makes you, even just a few, makes your enemies go to a lot of effort in anti-submarine warfare. So that's what you have to think about. And so, 170,000 mines being placed really, means that other things aren't being done. Other production, other shipping, and I think, yes, we will upgrade you or reinforce you to get you back operational. Don't know that I know there's a few units over here that I'm not moving just yet. No, you haven't fired or moved. Okay, we will be moving you soon. I think we will fire you here. Good, found that unit, yeah. Those units there, okay. That's good. They got some HE-111s coming in. Okay, it does look like they're starting to bug out a bit. bug out big time. We have that guy spotted because I guess we're surrounding him enough. Artillery pressure on him. We'll move these guys up to assault. He's Portee just is a fancy way of saying carrying something. Well, I guess we will pursue. We're gonna move the. We're not Freybird. Hopefully to take these guys out. Nope. They're being a pest. Eventually did that to sort of expose them, but hey, Van Bishop. Okay, and these guys are going to come here to flank with our dingo, or yeah, dingoes, Daimler dingoes, I believe. Okay, yeah, I think we will. Be aggressive with our movements. As in use trucks. So back to Giovanni Messe. He was, like I say, in the First World War. Did some. They didn't mention much, but they don't really say much. Saw some action in Libya in the First World War and whatnot. I ended up being a major commanding the Berg Salgari. I always have trouble with that, and I'm probably having more trouble still with that. I'm pronouncing it. They were sort of an elite light, rapid corps of infantry. Okay, now we know. I know there's a bunch of units fleeing out along there. Got that AA gun. What we're going to do is these guys are going to fly over to here. Get the bombers before the bombers even get to a target. And so that's fairly prestigious. He was also on the staff to King Victor Emmanuel during the period and whatnot. So got him noticed, as it were. Could try to come up. Well, let's. Do we see anyone that we want to? Let's see about. You're the Typhoon. Okay. That is an anti-aircraft gun. think he's probably pointing into the sky. Go after this German truck. It looks like a juicy target. Okay. The Italian. Okay, he can't get up to there. Yeah, I'm gonna let him shoot at me. Sort of taking this being a bit of a high altitude bomber with the light AA is not being entirely too effective with. Okay. These Spitfires. Wanted to. What we're going to do is strafe the E. And it looks like we took them out. They're going to move off over to there, so they're escorting at least those two guys. Have some escorts. These are what Indian Army unit, and we reinforce them. They're fleeing right and left, but we still have that unit to take care of. At that unit, I don't want to still guess. Okay, our Matildas are moving slow. We know that would be the case. No, I made a mistake. Well, maybe I did. Maybe I should be moving the artillery up. We're gonna move these guys to here. Good, we spotted that. See if I can press and fully take out a unit. I think I would rather do that. Here. Those guys are without motor transport, but those guys aren't, so we're gonna advance. First assignment was actually in China. Oh, okay. During the Boxer Revolt. I did not know that, Ben Bishop. That was not covered that I saw in the Wikipedia article, and I will admit that, yes, I'm getting this out of Wikipedia. But during the Boxer Rebellion, yes. Of course, I've seen the movie 55 Days at Peking. I know that isn't entirely accurate as to what happened, but yeah, very interesting. And so, you know, he has a pretty decent sort of interwar, don't know whether you want to call it Italian East Africa, you know, the second Italo-Abyssinian War. He does very well in that and gets promoted up in command of the 3rd Cavalry Division. After that campaign, yeah, that was interesting, the Boxer Rebellion, and the collapse of that is really the collapse of Imperial China. Which was corrupt, outdated, and needed to go for the benefit of the Chinese people. Just a soldier back then, left school when he was 10. Okay, interesting. Getting to... See, I don't want to just move up and not assault a fortress. You're going next to a fortress. 6-pounder anti-tank gun. Okay, let's see. I guess there is no mines there. We're going to assault that. And so he does rather well. Now, for the second, you know, actual starting of the Second World War, his first real campaign, I should say. And hello, Rockham44N, how you doing? Thanks for subscribing with your Prime account. Very good. And hey, everybody here, just do note, if you are subscribed, you have even a better selection of games you can get with when you earn Slyths. The one thing that I don't know that enough of us creators or streamers here for Slytherin TV promote this up well enough, but the more you watch of Slytherin TV, the more Slyths, they're, you know, a coin, if you will, not like one you can properly trade, but you can turn into for free games and DLCs. So, you know, just come on. You don't have to do anything other than being logged in and watch, and you'll earn Slyths. You can see just the details if you want to scroll down. There's some description and links to earning them and turning them in for the DLCs and what DLCs are currently available. And you get more options with Slyths. You also, or with Prime, and you also earn more Slyths with Prime. So do keep that in mind. Really wanted to like fly up and attack that very weak Italian fighter now, but nothing could really get up there. And I also wanted to go after this bomber pretty heavily. Done. It's still around. And so his first campaign was in the Albanian front against Greece. I understand he did reasonably well there, but the Italians weren't. They were being pushed back by the Greeks. But you know, the Germans move in at that time. Well, you know, eventually, especially once Yugoslavia starts sort of deciding to, don't know if quite change sides, but definitely leaving the Axis, as it were. And so Germany, or Hitler, decides to invade Yugoslavia and carries on down to support the Greeks. So Giovanni does reasonably well in that campaign. And then after that, which he has a fair amount of experience with mobile troops, but instead of going to North Africa and fighting alongside Rommel, he gets sent out as commander of the Italian Expeditionary Corps to Russia, at least the first one, the smaller one of the two. Uh-oh. Like, I pushed those infantry with the trucks, and Panzer IV showed up, and we're getting strafed by some fighters, which I'm not that worried about the fighters, because they're awfully weak. Okay, we're coming in with, but we did, at least I did escort this guy. Good. I mean, it still did a fair amount of damage to us. Okay, we got that. That looks like it can do reasonably well. Let's move up from the rear to we take these guys out, not just push it back. Okay. Now let's move you to here. Yeah, probably shouldn't have been the first attack. Now he's being supported from both sides. Now let's talk about this a little bit here. We have here the Crusader Mark III. Gun-wise, armor-wise, it just really doesn't match up to the Panzer IIIL, which is the one with the longer-barreled and somewhat up-armored Panzer III. Longer-barreled 50 millimeters, because there's sort of a medium barrel and a long barreled 50 millimeter gun. It's the longer barreled, basically the same gun, I believe, on the Pak 38. So pretty good, but it's up armoring, and the better gun is just going to do a lot better than the Panzer III. Now, once we're getting to the Sherman, which we're information panel in here, once we're getting to the calling the Sherman 2, I'm not quite sure why the British called this the Sherman 2. I don't know whether it was because it's the cast hull or what exactly, but now that with its 75 millimeter gun is going to do a lot better. There, which means these guys can pursue. Attack, attack, attack. Keep pushing. Be like Rommel. Just keep pushing. We can't reinforce these guys right now because they're in enemy territory and they've been beat up pretty bad. So we're going to move them back to friendly territory and reinforce them. Okay, well currently we have our 20 millimeter guns pointed down, but we're going to point them into the sky and we're going to drive them over here. And okay, we have to wait a whole turn, damn, where we can shoot. Okay, well, you up. Yeah, I'm going to risk you again. And so Giovanni's out in Russia with I think it's about 60,000 Italian troops. At first they do okay. But they just don't quite have the anti-tank capabilities to deal with Soviet tanks. So that's where things really start to fall down for the Italians. And it's not just the idea of T-34s. The Italians really don't have any good anti-tank guns, and they don't have a lot of them. I would, at least for the time being, the time that we're talking about, I would call them a medium pressure 47 millimeter gun. So they're not a high or medium velocity, I should say. Pressure, velocity, same basic thing. Or its effects. And yes, good. Took it out. Keep them from retreating. Okay, we're flying right to AA guns. That isn't so brilliant, but oh well. So yeah, things fall apart, of course, heavily when we're talking about Stalingrad. You up? In 2000 men and a grand total of 4 CV-33 tanks. They used the T-35, yeah, as an anti-tank gun. 47, yeah, that's it. And that's 47 millimeters in diameter by 32 calibers, I believe, long, which is a way. It's really strange. I learned this sort of from the Navy. The caliber length is not a caliber like 50 caliber is in half an inch. It's a caliber's length percentage based upon the diameter. So you would figure it's like, I think it's like 32 times 47 millimeters or something like that, to get the sort of the length of it as the anti-tank gun. So yeah, they were, no, 4 squadrons, not 4 tanks. Yeah. So yeah, okay, there's worse things than a CV-33, though it's hard to find them. It is hard to find them out there. It really is. I mean, some of the early Carden Lloyd tankettes that sold in 1s and 2s around the world are the few of them thinking of, or a French armored tractor, the UE, that was meant to be a battlefield, a little 2-man tractor that towed a wagon to deliver, ammunition to forward troops and guns. That mostly the Germans upgunned with a machine gun. Those are some of the few things I can think of that might be worse than a CV-33. But yeah. So not that the CV-33s are useless in saying open plains of Russia, moving a machine gun around to shoot at infantry positions, but Russians got anti-tank rifles that can penetrate its armor, so it's not going to do such a light anti-tank gun that it was employed also by paratroopers. Yeah. Yeah, it's not a weapon it's going to have. I believe it would be able to penetrate the armor of something like a T-26 or a BT-5, BT-7s at close enough range, but I wouldn't count on it necessarily because, you know, it depends on the angle of impact and all that. And I don't have all the facts and, you know, figures of its penetration tables versus the armor tables in my head, but it's not very good, but it's okay against sort of, shall we call it, pre-war Russian tanks of the standard sort of variety. But that's only just. And they're not going to have, they don't have lots of them anywhere in the Italian army. So you're not necessarily going to have some anti-tank guns available right and when the enemy tanks show up immediately. And even if you do have a couple of anti-tank guns and you've got 20 little Russian tankettes, well, they're bigger than tankettes, light tanks we'll call them, whether the fast or the slow variety, coming at you. A couple of anti-tank guns isn't much of a thing. So, yeah. It was used semi-successfully in the Spanish Civil War. Yeah, in the Spanish Civil War, you're mainly facing T-26s from the Republican forces, obviously supplied by the Germans. No, Soviets. What am I saying? So yeah, it's not an overly powerful weapon, but something that can be handled against medium and lighter type forces. Okay, we've been shooting down that guy, whittling him down. We know we have this here, but we've got AA guns, big ones. 3.7-inch AA guns, which just about took them out of the sky, and the Bofors for you. You can go. Okay, let's suppress this AA gun for the moment. I'm thinking about attacking it. They've all fired. Yep, bishop. Maybe we should have hit that first, but they fell back. So what we're going to do is we're going to pick up these Valentines. Okay, breakthrough. Axis positions on the Mareth line have become untenable as our forces smash through the main defense, forcing the enemy to abandon his strong points. Well, very useful. So now I'm deciding not to pursue just because he is fairly weak, and these guys will probably attempt counterattack and just sort of a bit surrounded. These are just slightly stronger. Got Monty in charge, and so we're going to push up there. Here we're going to push up with this guy. Okay, well, before we do that, have suppressed him somewhat. And it came over here to be escorted. Okay, now. One of our secondary goals is to kill 5 Italian infantry units, and I don't know if we've done it yet. I know we did 4, so we'll be aggressive and get that. Okay. Let's be a, okay, we don't want to quite be right next to me. Uh-oh, we found a hidden bunker. Okay. Well, at least they were in Brendan or Universal Carriers, but Brendan Carriers I like to call them. Okay, right. Even oh, because these are Universal Carriers for attacking them. Good. Walking places. Yeah, to be useful. Get these guys forward. See about another great leap with our artillery next turn, I think. Oh, got these guys. Can't quite get in on shooting him up. He's being escorted. The Blenheim is too far north. Okay, well, wait a minute. We have the Typhoon, but we haven't used. Do we want to bring him down or? Yeah. Probably a bit bigger than the 40s or some artillery. We'll do the artillery. Yes, I can do. So, they decided to increase the forces in Russia up to a proper army, Armata Italia in Russia, and another general, one by the name of Garibaldi. Not the Garibaldi, the unifier of Italy, though I'm absolutely sure. I think we will just walk up here because of some of the mobile forces. And so then at that time, he decided to move. Go after these guys, damn. Okay. Hey, run away. You have Montgomery commanding you. We don't want to lose him. Good thing we didn't put everybody in trucks. And so at that time, Giovanni is sent to command in Tunisia after the collapse. And good thing we didn't put them in trucks either, or keep them in motorized in trucks. They're trying to evacuate out here as much as they can. Italian forces, it looks like, I guess. Moving up some Jerry's. Well, these guys will come over here and shoot at the fighters, hopefully bringing them down. Yes, very good. The artillery is going to shoot at them to give them what might be called a headache. They can pursue, because these guys will push to here. And then push up to there. Wow, that armor is being very resilient. Do want to put it down, fully down. Boom. Okay, yeah, I think we'll stay right there. Reinforce him again. Or some, yep. The other General Garibaldi was captured and deported by the Germans, sentenced to 10 years by the RSI, the mini-fascist state in northern Italy, after 43, but managed to escape. Just a fun fact. Yeah, well, we're gonna, yeah, that's interesting. Don't know much about Garibaldi, Italo Garibaldi. I know the name. I've heard it, you know, a few times before. Okay, you guys, we're going to report you guys. Oh. Coming back and taking that wasn't my most optimum outcome, but okay. Boons. Yeah. Here's right there. Okay, well. Too juicy of a target. No, this is an important target. Okay. I think, well, right now we're going to reinforce him heavily. Those guys out. Still does supported by infantry. These guys, yes, they could come up. Which was sort of the idea, was to reconnect here. But before we go after that entirely. Okay, they landed. Yeah, okay, yeah, I guess. Wait, man. Moment. Oh, this is the one with Montgomery in it. Yeah, I'm also going to reinforce you. Well, not quite take it out, but hey, Yog Dogs, the war is going very well, and you're very welcome. You get the stuff you need done, done, and hopefully everything goes well. Very happy to help anytime. Okay. Yeah. Just trying to see if we should move up. But how aggressive? Okay, well, this aggressive for you. This aggressive for you. I know we're going to be right next to a bunker, but I'm going to hope it's not going to do too much damage to me. I know hope is never a good military strategy, but still. Oh, good. I'm sure that takes a lot of pressure off of you. Pressure is something that gets to you a lot when you're worrying about things and people and stuff you need to do. Trust me, I've had to deal with that in my life as well. Okay, so we're doing pretty well. These guys here have managed to stay alive. Okay, what units haven't we moved? Oh, we got another. Oh. Let's see if we can strafe them. No, we did strafe them, but okay, these guys are going to come home and reconnaissance, and we're going to fix you up if we can. So Giovanni is oh, what's the I want to get the sort of terms right. He's leading the Deutsches Italienische Panzer Army, formerly commanded by Rommel. And the name was changed to the First Italian Army because there are more Italian units. 1 German corps and 3 Italian corps. Okay, turn overview. Okay, we've reached the line. We've not captured Gabe's yet. Okay, we have destroyed 5 Italian. We've not got Alhama yet. So he's commanding that, but under Army Group Africa, Hare's Group Africa, which is under Rommel. So he's replaced Rommel, but Rommel's promoted above him, if you sort of get the meaning. And he's credited with doing reasonably well, commanding the Italian forces in North Africa. This is the first name. Giovanni is the first. Yeah, Giovanni Messe. I think I've been saying it that right, haven't I? Don't know. You back down to here. I guess we're going to move to that airbase, but. So we have this guy in the back here, which we can. Let's attack with that. Thank you. I know, sort of, I just used what I thought Giovanni would be, but I actually did the sort of Google thing in Messe, because I didn't know would it be Giovanni Messe or Messi, but Messe, Giovanni Messe, I think. Put him out of misery if I can. Entirely. Okay, well. Let's just move you straight up to here, right into an anti-tank gun, which just blew the guts out of my tanks. Ah. They're gonna be, yeah, I think they can just get. No guts, no glory. Messe led the Mareth line. Montgomery had 500 tanks, Messe 16, 2 of which were German tanks. Yeah,